A motion that comes from outside and towards your body will not generate much spin. A motion that starts close to the body and moves outward is what generates real spin. Today, we're covering two practical serves I use often: the short serve to the corner and the surprise long serve to the forehand. These serves are effective not just for amateurs, but for professional players as well. But I'm going to teach you how to make the ball curve more sharply and generate heavier spin. First, for the short corner serve, you need a mental shift. This serve isn't about speed. You have two goals here. The first is to make the ball float, so it curves sharply away from the table after it bounces. The second is deception. Don't telegraph your intention. Pretend you're serving straight or long. A sudden short serve will catch your opponent off guard. Make your motion look powerful. Then at the last moment, just guide the ball to the short corner. They won't be prepared for it. Most amateurs stand bolt upright, expecting a long serve. Your surprise short serve will force a late or awkward return. This is when you get your opportunity to attack with a power loop or a strong rally ball. The first key point is your stance. When serving to the short corner, you must stand near the sideline, otherwise, the ball will easily go long. Even if you can do it in practice, it won't work in a match. So, the first key, your left foot must be positioned outside the sideline of the table. The second key is your racket angle, which is critical. Regarding your motion, if your racket face is pointing towards your opponent, they will easily read it and attack. Therefore, your racket face should be pointed straight ahead of you, not at your opponent, from backswing to follow through. The second key point, I don't recommend serving sidespin backspin with this serve. If you serve sidespin backspin and they push it back, don't attack unless you have a very strong forehand. The return often lands in the middle of the forehand side of the table, and attacking with your backhand from there often leads to unforced errors. I make this mistake myself. So, after a sidespin backspin serve, if they push, you can long push to their forehand and prepare to defend the cross-court angle. If you serve topspin, however, the return quality will be low, giving you a better chance to attack the open court. Therefore, I recommend you primarily use the sidespin topspin serve. When serving sidespin topspin, your racket head and face must point towards your target landing spot. For example, if you want the first bounce here, you must direct your force there. So, your initial racket angle must point toward the first bounce location on your opponent's side. I recommend aiming the first bounce towards this area rather than too far forward. Under match pressure, serving too deep will often cause the ball to go out. Remember, don't try to make it spin excessively. This serve is about placement and deception, not heavy spin. If you put too much spin on the ball, the return will come back with just as much, making it harder for you to handle. It's better to let the ball float over with light spin, making the return simpler and easier for you to attack. If you serve heavy backspin and they push it half long, the ball is very awkward to attack. So, aim your racket head and face toward your intended first bounce, and apply force in that direction. Second, how do you make it float more? Avoid hitting the ball from back to front. You want to create sideways friction. Imagine the ball drawing a horizontal line across your racket face as you brush it. This will make it float. As long as you create this horizontal brushing motion, the ball will drift sideways after bouncing instead of moving forward, making it hard for the opponent to use your pace. If you also keep the trajectory low, your opponent will likely be late to the ball, especially at the amateur level. The more the ball moves sideways, the more it challenges your opponent's timing and spatial awareness. With a standard left side spin serve, do you serve more topspin or backspin? Most likely, you serve more backspin because topspin is harder. At contact, if your racket is above the ball's equator, it's sidespin backspin. If it's level with the equator, it's a no-spin or light spin serve. If your racket is below the ball's equator, that's how you produce sidespin topspin. Why can't you serve topspin? It's likely because your racket is still starting from above the ball. To serve topspin, your racket must move upwards into the ball. Practice this feeling of lifting the ball first, then gradually lower the trajectory to improve consistency. Let's talk about sidespin backspin, which is a bit easier. How can you make it spin more? It depends on the path of your racket head. I'll hit two serves. Which one is spinnier? The first. The second. Definitely the second one. Because on the second serve, my racket starts high and brushes down on the ball. The first serve is more of a forward push. Obviously, the second serve will have more spin. So to generate heavy spin, even on a short serve, your backswing must be higher than the ball. You have to generate force from top to bottom to make the ball spin. If you contact at the same height, it becomes a forward push, resulting in a fast, low spin serve. Second point, your arm should be completely relaxed. Any tension in the arm will ruin the serve. You must control your hand. At contact, the force comes from your fingers. So when serving sidespin backspin, focus on using your fingers to brush the ball. To make it spin more, ensure the left edge of the racket is higher than the right edge on the follow-through. This will significantly improve how much the racket bites the ball. Now for sidespin topspin. Can you get the feeling of lifting the ball up as it drops? If you can feel yourself lifting the ball on contact, your skill level is already very high. The feeling of sidespin topspin is simply starting your racket below the ball and brushing upwards on contact. So why do your serves get attacked? Why aren't opponents fooled? Because you show your racket angle before and after the serve. Of course they're going to attack it. You have to disguise your serve by faking a different direction. Immediately after contact, flip your racket angle to make it look like you're going down the line. You can mix it up. Serve straight with that motion. Then use the exact same motion to serve cross-court. After the serve, follow through towards the straight line or in an upward circle. In table tennis, you have to keep your opponent guessing. Make them feel like they can never read you because you're always changing things. You can't be too predictable. If you serve without deception, they'll figure you out in 2 or 3 tries. So, when serving short, don't stop your motion after contact. Lift your elbow and wrist to point the racket face straight, which will effectively deceive your opponent. This deception will make it much harder for them to anticipate your serve. If you mix this with a few serves straight and short to the forehand, they'll be a split second late. In serve-receive, if they miss that ideal contact point, their error rate will skyrocket. Next, let's discuss the long, fast serve to the forehand. Which is more effective, a fast, flat serve, a fast, backspin serve, or a fast, sidespin serve? I think the sidespin version isn't as effective because the contact is slightly slower. When serving a fast, long serve, your body must be absolutely stable, no shifting or unnecessary movement. That is the most critical point. Keep your body low and execute the motion in a very compact space, as quickly as possible, to maximize deception. Don't extend your arm or expose your body, that's a dead giveaway. Just show your racket face, drive it forward, and stop the motion instantly. The reason it's going high and slow is your U-shaped swing path. Stop scooping the ball. You need more forward penetration. The moment you toss it, drive straight through. Watch my backswing, it drives forward. This ensures maximum speed and the lowest trajectory. Why does it go long? Because you're using too much force and just hitting the ball flat. I'm using friction. It's a very fast brushing motion. Watch closely, I'm brushing forward over the 2 o'clock position of the ball. You are simply smacking it. In a match, with a little bit of tension, that ball is guaranteed to go out. So, if you want this serve to be reliable in a match, you must incorporate friction. Keep your hand low, and brush the ball. This fast serve to the forehand is most effective at critical moments, like around 8-8, or at the start of a game at 0-0. Your opponent is almost never ready for the first one. When using this serve, there are 2 things to watch. First is placement. If you serve to the middle of the forehand side, they might just reach out and hit a winner. You must aim for the wide corner. That's the first key point. The second key is that this must be a surprise attack, so it has to be deceptive. This serve works by deceiving their judgment, causing them to lose critical time for reading the spin, moving, contacting the ball, and selecting their shot. A good player won't be fooled by a topspin serve if they can read it instantly. Do you want to know what serves I use most often in matches? I generally use a high toss serve, and I like to serve to that short corner in the middle of the table. At the pro level, you can't expect a service ace. The goal is to force a weak push so I can initiate my attack. Second is my hook serve. I love to use a fast, sidespin topspin hook serve to force a rally, and I also use it to serve short to the forehand. Then I react to their return. If they flick, I counterloop. If they push, I attack. A third serve I love is the sidespin topspin serve deep to the backhand corner. It's very effective at jamming the opponent. For my short forehand serve, I almost always use a hook serve, because a standard left side spin serve to the forehand is too easy to receive. It's also usually backspin, and if they do a long push, I'm put on the defensive, and they can counterattack. So, I usually high toss to the middle, and use my hook serve short to the forehand because its spin takes the return wide to my forehand side. For fast serves, your motion must be very compact. All of your serves should originate close to your body. The hook serve is the same. Start the motion close to your body, then extend outward. Don't start with your arm far away. This applies to every serve. Start close, then extend out. If you watch closely, you'll see this creates a great rhythm, a quick snap on contact. The ball comes down, snap. This rhythm is excellent. It creates a quick reaction challenge for your opponent. They wonder, how did that ball get here so fast? Deceptive follow-throughs are also designed to lengthen your opponent's decision-making time. A simple motion takes 0.5 seconds, a deceptive one might take 0.7 or 0.8 seconds. Let me give you an example. Look at this fast chop serve. Is it quick? It's very fast, right? If you serve like that, they might just block it back instinctively. But if you add a deceptive follow-through, they will watch your entire motion before they react. If you stop your motion early, they have more time to judge the ball from the moment it leaves your racket. But when I add a fake follow-through, my motion and the ball's flight are happening at the same time. If you do it quickly, your opponent will hesitate for a moment. They're still watching your racket. An expert player can filter out the useless motion, but it's very difficult for an amateur. Most players watch the entire service motion, the backswing, the contact, and the follow-through. So, while they are still watching your follow-through, the ball is already on them. This forces a subconscious, unplanned reaction without proper spin, trajectory, or placement. When their return quality drops, you get your chance. Amateur players often stop their service motion too early.